If you visit countries like Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil and Paraguay in South America, as I did, you'll be unable to avoid this drink. So in this video I'm not just going to tell you what this is and the benefits, but I'll also show you all the tricks I learned growing up in Argentina so you can be prepared for your next South American trip. What's this? This is called mate, the most popular infusion in Argentina and countries nearby such as Uruguay, who can literally drink this 24/7, Paraguay and Brazil. In other words, it's like a tea made from yerba mate leaves that, besides being super tasty, it has some very interesting health benefits. So let's start from the beginning, and as always, I'll explain this in 3 parts. The story begins with the indigenous people from the forests of Paraguay, the Guarani, and southern Brazil, the Tupi. They found this herb, they believed it was from the gods, and they used it mostly for physical stamina. So they also believed that yerba mate was a gift given to them to sustain life, increase vitality, and heal the sick. In fact, there was some truth here, because this herb, yerba mate, contains xanthines, acting as stimulants, which can also be found in tea, coffee, and chocolate, for example. And it's an antioxidant powerhouse. So you know what this means: boosting energy, mental focus, enhanced physical performance, other benefits as well. The stimulant properties of this beverage became very popular with Argentinian gauchos who sipped yerba mate, for example, to boost their energy during cattle drives, long harvest days. This cowboy coffee was sipped in the morning and at night around the campfire. A shared gourd was passed around and sipped in fellowship as meals were prepared. So to be clear, the yerba mate is cultivated only in 3 countries in the world: Brazil, Argentina and Paraguay. Brazil and Argentina are the biggest players as they export 90% of all the yerba in the world. And the top 3 countries that are buying this are Uruguay, Chile and Syria. Don't ask me more details about Syria because I have no clue how or why they like it so much. Then there's other countries such as Germany, the US and Spain that they also buy yerba, but to be fair, there's a lot of Argentinians living in those countries, so I'm not sure to what extent locals like it. In Argentina, the plant is cultivated mainly in the Misiones province. 90% of the production comes from there, where the trees prosper because it's humid and the climate is subtropical, so they grow to approximately 12 to 15 meters tall before being harvested. Also, if you're wondering, the other 10% of the production comes from Corrientes province. Yerba mate leaves are similar to wine in their aging process, which can take anywhere from 1 month to 3 years to age, depending on the variety. From germination to packaging, it takes approximately 5 years to harvest just 1 crop of yerba mate. Mate is not just the equivalent of a cup of tea that other countries drink when they want. For Argentinians, mate also has a ritual. There's different situations that we typically drink it. Let me share a very common one. It is normally drunk in social settings, at family gatherings or with friends. The mate cup and the bombilla or bombilla share between everyone. One person's going to be serving the mate and we call it the cebador.
Cebador!
And this person will take on the task of serving and preparing the mate, making sure that this is dust-free and it has good quality. The cebador must always drink first. Otherwise it can be considered bad manners, as the drink may be too cold or too strong. After the cebador has finished the first mate, he passes it to his right. Then the second person will drink it and then pass it back to the cebador once it's finished. Unlike in England where I live or in the US, you're allowed to make a final slurping noise on the bombilla to make sure all the liquid has been finished. It's delicious. The ritual then continues until the mate has no longer flavor. This is typically after 10 mates or so. It really depends on the size. Of course, you can pour 2 liters of water if you want, but the mate won't taste very good. You'll also see that the yerba is floating and we call it lavada, like washed. This means that it's time to change the yerba and prepare fresh mate again. Some people like to sweeten mate by adding sugar. I'm not a big fan of this. The true gaucho will probably say that if you add sugar, then you don't like mate. Some people like to add lemon or orange peel as well. Personally, I don't. I'm a simple guy, so I like simple things. Believe it or not, there's a lot of unwritten rules that are considered rude to break. The mate is served in a gourd or calabaza with hot water, but traditionally you want to have around 75 to 80 degrees Celsius, so then your mate has a slightly better flavor. But I must confess, I like it closer to 90 to 95 degrees, which is very hot. To the point that you can burn your tongue if you're not a local. So if you don't believe me, see my experience when I made my international friends try mate for the first time a decade ago. Or when Christina's little nephew in Lithuania tried. The mate is passed from person to person. The process keeps going until there's no hot water left. Only say thanks once you actually finished, never during or before drinking. And the most important thing, never ever touch the bombilla, except with your lips. Because one tiny move can block it, which means no water will flow anymore. Locals are super sensitive about this. It's true that we love drinking mate with friends, but it's also fair to say that we are not every day with friends, right? So we drink mate on our own as well. For example, for me, it's literally company. I drink mate pretty much all day. When I was at university, it used to be my company whenever I had to study till very late. And today, still my best friend when I work on weekends and so on. It became an extension of my hand. Step 1. Heat the water to between 75 and 80 Celsius. Never boil the water, it loses flavor. Between us, I must confess I sometimes spoiled it, because I like it very hot. Just don't tell my Argentinian friends about this, otherwise I might lose my passport. Step 2. Fill the gourd or calabaza 3/4 full with YERBA and shake it, making sure there's no leaf stick. Try to eliminate all the powder as well, otherwise this will come with the water and it won't be very nice. Step 3. Tilt the gourd or calabaza about 45 degrees. Pour in the water little by little in a slow manner. Step 4. Let the water and YERBA combine for a second. Step 5. Insert the bombilla pinching the end of the mouthpiece with your thumb to avoid powder to enter. Step 6. Keep pouring in the water bit by bit and let it brew. Step 7. Enjoy! If you like this video and found it helpful, please feel free to press like and also let me know in the comments what you think. And if you want to make my day, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching and see you next week.
What do I believe? What makes me feel it to write you this song?
I can literally drink all day.